Okay, we just finished our dinner with that homemade chicken pot pie soup that I'd made. If you haven't seen the video yet, please watch it. Right now we're fixing to make some homemade brownies. I never do anything from a box. I always do it homemade. Alright, so we're going to start off with, we're going to have 1 cup of sugar. We're going to have a half a cup of melted butter, tablespoon of vanilla, 2 eggs, half a cup of unsifted flour, a 1/4 cup of Hershey's cocoa, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of salt. You can also add half a cup of nuts if you want nuts in your mixture. Okay, I'm going to put all my dry ingredients together. Cup of sugar, half a cup of flour, 1/4 cup of cocoa, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and then we're going to go with a teaspoon of salt. And as y'all know, I've done before, I never pour over my bowl, I always pour off to the side, which in this case I'll probably make a big mess, but salt kind of dampens the bitterness of the cocoa when you add the salt and the sugar together. So we dry mix these items. Then we're going to take the melted butter, which I have in this bowl here, or the eggs that have already been beaten just a little. I'm going to add the melted butter. I'm going to add the I'm going to add the vanilla here, and I like using this one right here. You can use any brand you want. My daughter actually makes her own. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So now we've got our wet ingredients together. I'm going to blend these up. And then I'm going to incorporate them into the dry mix slowly, just making sure that we're mixing good. Give it a good mix, make sure everything is well blended. And it's going to look a little gritty and stuff, but just as long as you're not seeing any dry powder, you're doing good. Now we're going to take the cake pan and we're going to prepare it, put a little butter on the inside and sprinkle it with cocoa so it doesn't stick. Okay, I put the brownie mix into a greased pan, and then I like to coat the pan with a little cocoa before I put the brownie mix in it. But the main thing is making sure that it's a well-greased pan. We're going to stick it in the oven at 350 degrees. 350 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. You know when it's starting to get done is when it starts breaking away from the outside. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to overcook it, because if you overcook it, it'll just turn out really dry. Okay, it's been 20 minutes now, and we're going to test it with a toothpick. Still a little wet, so we're going to let it cook for another 5 minutes. Remember, if you're using the toothpick method, if you wait until it's completely dry on your toothpick, you're going to end up with brownies that are really dry. The best way to do this is watch for it to start separating around the outside edge of the pan. Well, let's check it. Looks like it's done. Hey, what more could you ask for? Homemade brownies and bluebell ice cream, now that it's back on the shelves again.